The Boxer Rebellion was a popular movement on the North China Plain, which was fired by a combination of intense anti-foreign and anti-Christian sentiment and a borrowing of cultural practices from popular culture, especially invulnerability rituals involving spirit possession by the gods of village opera stories. Followers were called Boxers because they practiced martial arts. A relatively low level of Boxer activity in 1898 and 1899, with locally containable violence perpetrated upon missionaries and Chinese Christians, escalated into large-scale incidents in the spring of 1900. This instability building toward a crisis was immeasurably compounded by a terrible cycle of flood and drought which afflicted large parts of the Shandong and Hebei provinces in the years before 1900. Millions of people thus became Boxers, searching for food for survival. The level of social breakdown feeding into this whole process was significant. The recent years' flood, drought, famine cycle in Shandong and Hebei had fused general anti-foreign and anti-Christian sentiments with specific alarm over the foreign presence and rumors that Christians were responsible for the drought, poisoning of wells, and other acts of community sabotage. And the old rumors about Catholic practices, such as using children's eyes as medicine, were circulated again. Another factor identified wherein Christianity was linked to the origin and development of the Boxers was the behavior of the German missionaries in Shandong in the late 1890s, who were imperious and supported unsavory converts in lawsuits. Finally, there was the political factor. In 1898 and 1899, the race was on for foreign spheres of influence all across the land. Not knowing clearly how to deal with the foreign powers, the Empress Dowager Qixi brought the Boxers into the streets of Beijing in mid-June 1900, where they laid siege to the legation quarter not far from the Forbidden City. The Empress finally declared war on all the Western powers and sent imperial military forces into the siege. Many foreigners in Beijing were killed. On August 14th, an international force finally captured Beijing, relieving the foreigners and Christians besieged there since June. While foreign troops looted the capital, the Empress Dowager and her court fled to Xi'an, leaving behind a few imperial princes to conduct the negotiations. After extensive discussions, a protocol was finally signed in September 1901, ending the hostilities and providing for reparations to be made to the foreign powers. Outside of Beijing, the Boxers killed all foreigners and Chinese Christians in North China within their reach. Altogether, about 270 foreigners and more than 30,000 Chinese Christians died. Even after the diplomatic settlement in 1901, foreign military presence was still in parts of North China for a long period of time. The foreign troops' retaliatory acts and some Christian missionaries' involvement in the looting that swept over Beijing were also troubling. But the Qing court's decision in the summer of 1900 to bring the Boxers into the streets of Beijing was definitely foolhardy. The hopes that had been maintained by many for China's modernization and even Christianization were suddenly destroyed by the Boxer events. However, much to the surprise of most observers, within 2 years of the Boxer events, the Qing court willingly initiated a series of reforms modeling the West. Even more surprising, the elite class and officialdom was showing more respect for missionaries and Christian institutions than had been the case before. The bleak outlook of the Boxer summer gave way to renewed hope among missionaries and Chinese Christians alike that at last China might be turning toward Christianity.